Good morning, everyone. It's morning over here anyway, in the UK. Just about to head out to my home gym, my garage, to work out. And I just wanted to pause before I leave because of the disturbing news report that came out that happened to popped up into my YouTube last night when I was trying to upload a video. I didn't get to upload the video because this program, Channel 4 News, uh, just changed the whole evening, the whole tenor of the evening. How I went to bed late. I was very disturbed. Um, I cried hard watching uh, the Channel 4 News um, interview about the Seventh-day Adventist Church um, being a place of no protection, allowing pedophiles to one particular pedophile, uh, um, Donald Kelly, to for decades to abuse what we know so far young boys. Now, I'm not going to make this video long. I got to go, but I've got a lot more to say, which I will say later. But I put it. Firstly, I was shocked to see the title, um, Son of Adventist Church. So of course it got my attention. Secondly, I know Dr. Kelly, not personally, but I know him as in he's been to my church, and I've heard rumors back in the day. And of course, rumors, I can't do anything about that, but I heard rumors. The church was very aware. It was well known that Dr. Kelly been messing around with boys. But what also shocked me is that one of the men interviewed one of the victims of Dr. Kelly uh, is my cousin. Didn't expect to see my family on there. Didn't expect. I didn't know. I'm not close with my cousin. That side of my family is my dad's side, the Adventist side. Uh, but I didn't know. I didn't know this happened to him and the other man, Andrew Cardigan. So Michael Smith and Andrew Cardigan. And I firstly want to just, before I even say anything else, to say, listen, I'm proud of you guys for coming forward and speaking out against this. It's not easy. It's hard for a woman to share that she's been abused, because there's always you know, labeling the victim as it must have been her fault or something like that. But I believe it's even harder for men, especially the age that they're at in the 70s. Older, mature men who've got families to now come forward um, and to share what, even though people didn't, even though they weren't believed, even though the church knew this, even though you know it was reported, but yet because of no tangible evidence, the police couldn't do anything. The church knew this, and I just want to say one thing. I've got many things to say. I no longer attend the Seventh Adventist Church physically. When I went to St. Lucia, I did, but I've always said I'm a Seventh Adventist and Sabbaths, I keep Sabbaths, but I'm so very ashamed to even call myself that, to have any affiliation with this church. I'm 45, then I joined the church when I was 17, and I believe my cousin, I believe this man. Even if it was my cousin, even if I know for sure that one thing that, one thing the church, I gotta be careful what I say, but there's a certain part of the church, which was mentioned in the interview, certain body, which knew about it, okay, which is now speaking on it publicly. Damage control is what I call it, because you had years to speak on it, talking about safeguarding. One thing I know is that this department of the church is very big on hushing things down and pushing things under the carpet and using force to threaten the victim for sharing their truth. I know that because I myself have experienced, have been on the receiving end of of abuse in the church. This is not about me, so I'm not going into that. But I've seen it. I've seen the church protect leadership at the expense of suffering I was put under as a single mother, as a woman. Um, yeah, I've seen it, and I've always said it's been a balancing act, keeping my children as Seventh Adventists, even though they've seen the atrocities, they've seen how the church has treated them up, they've seen it. They, my daughter really wants nothing to do with the church, but when we can, I have visited. But that's about to change. One thing I've always said is that, hold on a second, sorry. One thing I've always said, and now it's proven true in my life, but now it's coming out, and more is going to come out. And that is the Seventh day Adventist Church. If it ever was a safe place, which I don't believe it was, it definitely isn't now. We could talk about, people will say, well, how come you're at home? God said, don't forsake their Sabbath. They can't run that line on me anymore. But that's been, it's often the case when you choose, I'm not going to go to church physically. Don't forsake the assembling of yourselves. Yes, the ideal is to congregate among God's people. But remember, Hophni and Phinehas? Um, because of what they were doing in the temple, it put the people of God, the children of Israel, put the Jews, shall I say, the people of God off from attending because of what they were doing. It was not safe for them. And there's no way you can say that God would expect you to expose yourself and your children to a place where there's no protection. If I'm at a gym and I know that they don't have certain safety measures in place, and if anything should happen, they're not liable for anything, and I know the gym like that, okay? What am I doing going there? If any accident happens now, I'm not covered. They get away with it. There's no protection for me. So it's the same thing with the church. If you know there's nothing in place, there's no safeguarding in place, okay, in the church. There are lessons to be learned, they said. Lessons to be learned. No, there's compensation to be given. There's therapy to pay for these men, because I know these are not the only two. I know. I have heard of another. There are more cases with Donald Kelly. I know that for sure, but I'm not going to say anything. And it may not just be boys, but I know at least one more. He is a serial pedophile. It's been happening for decades. And what I'm saying is, if a place is not safe, God will not expect you to be there. God tells you to take care of this body temple. So wherever you place it, you're responsible. You've got to protect your mind. You've got to protect your spirit. So I've made that decision for years now. I don't take my children to church. They don't want to be there. We watch it online, but we don't physically be there. It's not safe. I'm just simply saying, if church, if this doesn't teach anything, it teaches you got to keep your kids in your own home. Don't trust the elder. Don't trust the deacon. I've had an elder ask me to send my son over to the US and he can stay with him for the holidays. Some dude I don't even know from an online church. Are you crazy? Because I'm a single mother. Single mothers get preyed on. A lot of the people that have been attacked and abused in the church, these are young people, young boys from homes where the mother needs an extra support, aka single parent or widowed mother. Okay? I've seen it. I've seen an elder try to stop my daughter taking my son to the restroom and saying, "Hey, let me take him." Are you crazy? That man had to get blasted. Someone spoke to him. Like, these are the kind of things. And I myself was groomed to a point when I joined the church. I joined the church when I was 17. Never really spoke about this because it never went further enough, because I actually reported it. I felt very uncomfortable. I joined the church at 17, and there was a man in the church. I was a member of Hanwell Church, the Hanwell SDA Church, and there was a man who's not alive anymore, but his wife is, and he tried to groom me and another young person. I only found out about the other young person because I actually went and reported it to this young person because she was my friend. Thank God. And she said the same has happened to her. Stay away from him. He's dangerous. And he always come like a father figure. I joined the church very vulnerable. I came from an abusive background. And as my cousin says, the church is supposed to be a solace, a place of protection. You go out there and you hear the N word. You go out there and it's rough out there, and you come to church. There's a lot to be said. A lot to be said about the Chiswick SDA Church. My dad, the first church my dad joined when he left Grenada, with during the same time, I believe, with Michael's mother, which is his sister. And there's a lot to be said. But one thing I will say, the church, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is not safe. It's not a safe place. Yeah, we have the truth. You can say whatever you want to say. It's not a safe place. You know, the damage control in that document by the headquarters of the SDA Church is, that's what I call it, damage control. It's out there. Read it. I could really dissect it for you, but the ending of it is spectacular. Coming out with, we are, what is it? I forgot the figure. 25 million? Forgive me if it's more or less, I don't know. But we are a church of 25 million members. What one action, has affected so many, and it's not just one action though. It's not just one person. There are many instances, and many incidents of pedophiles in the SDA Church over the years, which have not been acted on. I have the documents. I've experienced abuse in the church and have been hushed. I've been taken to court. I've been silenced. I've seen it. It's not a safe place. I really hope the church learns from this. Lessons learned. It's time to take action when things take place in your church that are protecting leadership. Michael and Andrew, I love you both, what you shared. May God strengthen you and heal you, give you the justice you deserve, because at the end of the day, he's dead now. Dr. Kelly, I pray to God. The church needs to give you some kind of compensation. They need to pay for some talk therapy outside of the SDA church because it's too much, the circle too tight. Therapy to be able to talk about this, and they need to pay for it. I'm gonna go. God bless you.